Good afternoon, everyone. Are you all able to hear me? Do nod.
Yes,
Perfect.
sounds good.
Okay. The time is now 12:01 p.m. and I will call the meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I'm Norma Hutcheson, the Bega Chairperson, and this meeting is being held via WebEx. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Charles Nottingham, Felice Smith, and Melissa Tucker. And together we constitute a quorum for this meeting. So since it was first posted, the meeting agenda has not changed in any way, but I ask that you take a minute to review the agenda and then that we have a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll offer a motion that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. All those opposed? There's no one left. So hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. And before us today are the minutes from the February 2nd, 2023 meeting. Please take a minute to review that document if you haven't already, and then we'll need a motion to consider approval of those meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay. Is
I'll
there a
second that motion.
Great. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the meeting minutes from February 2nd, 2023. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Hearing no opposition, those minutes are approved. The next item on our agenda is the report from the Office of Open Government. Director Niquelle Allen will provide the report on behalf of the office, and she is also appearing virtually via WebEx. Looks like she may be having some issues logging in.
I made it, Chairperson.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So please go forward, please, Ms. Allen, Director Allen.
I'm sorry for my tardiness. Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government. Since the last board meeting, OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the District of Columbia government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll start with Open Meetings Act advice and Freedom of Information Act advice. On February 17th, 2023, I issued an advisory opinion number OOG-22-005M. The issue was whether the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, or ABC Board, provided proper public notice of its closed meeting to discuss an ongoing investigation of the Big Board, a liquor license regulated by the ABC Board. I found the following. The ABC Board failed to cite the proper justification for entering into a closed session of a meeting to discuss the Big Board on January 26, 2022. The ABC Board's use of an OMA citation to enter into the closed session of a meeting to discuss an ongoing investigation was improper. That the proper citation for the ABC Board to enter closure on January 26, 2022 concerning Big Board was to deliberate upon a decision and adjudication, action, or proceeding by a public body exercising quasi-judicial function, and the ABC Board violated the OMA's notice of meeting requirements because it failed to provide the public with notice that would meet on January 26, 2022 in a closed session to deliberate upon a decision and adjudication, action, or proceeding by a public body exercising quasi-judicial function. And this is a continuation of a previous complaint that the Office of Open Government resolved in 2022. At the time of resolution, this complainant filed a second complaint, and this opinion resolves the second complaint. A FOIA advice on the publishing of public comments to a public body website. On March 1st, 2023, I responded to a public body inquiry on how to comply with DC FOIA when publishing public comment submission to its proposed new website. DC Official Code Section 2-536A5, which is the proactive publishing requirement of DC FOIA, requires, among other things, that the following categories of information are specifically made public information and do not require a written request for information. Correspondence and material referred to therein by and with a public body relating to any regulatory, supervisory, or enforcement responsibilities of the public body, whereby the public body determines or states an opinion upon, or is asked to determine or state opinion upon the rights of the district, the public, or a private party. For both the current and planned websites, I advise that the public body must post relevant submissions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-536A5, which includes redacting from some submissions information that does not comply with that provision or contains personally identifiable information. There is no statute excluding from DC FOIA an entity's public comment correspondence that it receives on its website. Therefore, this entity, I advise, must proactively produce this information under its website. It must retain, but does not have to publish correspondence that does not meet the requirements. The public may obtain the correspondence by submission of the DC FOIA request. I opine that the public body must also modify its current website language regarding policies on posting public comments and informal comments. So just by way of additional background, this public body is one that was commissioned to consider tax issues, and they received comments based on its charter. So the question was essentially whether they need to post all of those comments on their website. And we said that yes, pursuant to FOIA, proactive disclosure provisions, they should post those comments. They also wanted to exclude comments that may have some type of language that is foul or offensive, and we opined that they could do that under FOIA by submitting redacted copies or withholding them and making them available upon request. The next item is informal OMA and FOIA advice. Since the last board meeting, OOG has responded formally via email or telephone for requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 3 requests for OMA advice, 8 requests for FOIA advice, and 24 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. The next item is remote meeting monitoring. OOG attorneys attend remote public meetings to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act and to inspect public body websites and the OOG central meeting calendar for public notices and records. We provide legal advice on OMA compliance and take corrective action if necessary. During February 2023, the office attended 13 remote public body meetings. As a result of our attorney and paralegals monitoring, 8 instances of written corrective measures were taken. At issue was the public bodies failed to post agendas along with the OMA regulatory statement. The Open Meetings Act requires that each meeting notice must include the date, time, location, and planned agenda covered by the meeting. Public bodies must also post the OMA regulatory statement. This meeting is governed by the Open Meetings Act. Please address any questions or complaints arising under this meeting to the Office of Open Government. And this must be on all final and draft meeting agendas. The next items are training and outreach. Privacy Training Practicing Law Institute. On February 3rd, Attorney Weil attended the virtual course, Health Privacy Foundations. This course introduced the key concepts and highlighted the core laws to understand the connection between privacy law and health care, including the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, HIPAA, and its privacy rule, and related federal and state statutes related to privacy and security and health information. The panelists emphasized that the right of access is much more of a current focus by regulators than disclosure or breaches. Office of the Attorney General, OAG, training on finding the law of the district. On February 6th, the OO legal staff, Chief Counsel Barton and I attended the OAG presentation of Finding the Law of the District based on Chapter 1 of the DC Practice Manual. This presentation covered the legal definition of the District of Columbia, the definitions and sources of law that apply in the district, real and prima facie evidence of law, the role of the DC Register and posting therein, governmental and private reference sources on researching the law of the district, including historical sources, the precedential effect of judicial decisions at the federal and local levels, and administrative rules and decisions as sources of law. Juvenile Confidentiality Laws Training, Office of the Attorney General, on February 14th, 2023, attorneys DeBerry, Weil, and Scarbo attended the Juvenile Confidentiality for Civil Attorneys and General Counsel staff training presented by the Office of the Attorney General. This training discussed confidentiality of records regarding juvenile proceedings and how to obtain juvenile records for litigation purposes. The training was very informative and also insightful. ANC annual FOIA trainings is next. On February 15th, I conducted 2 trainings via WebEx for the Advisory Neighborhood Commissioners. The trainings were held at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. to allow for optimal participation. There was a total of 23 attendees at the 1 p.m. training and a total of 21 attendees at the 6 p.m. training. The annual training takes place in accordance with DC Official Code Section 1-309.4 D6. The training was well received. The next item is our meeting with Councilmember Bond's office and committee member staff. On February 16th, I, along with Director Cooks, Chief of Staff Mitchell, along with Attorney Tran, attended a meeting with the council member to give her an overview of our offices and their roles and to respond to any questions that she or her staff may have. The next item is the litigation and legislative update. Litigation first is the Attorney General's FY22 FOIA report to the DC Council. On February 1st, 2023, Attorney General Schwab submitted his FY22 FOIA report to the DC Council that lists the details of 29 FOIA cases that were open in the district's courts at the start of the FY22 fiscal year. Of those, 19 of those cases remain open. The report in its entirety is in Dropbox. The next item is another case, Staley versus Bowser, which is the Sunshine Act case number 2021 CA 003930B, is in DC Superior Court. On October 28th, 2021, 3 residents of Brentwood invoked the rarely litigated Sunshine Act in suing the mayor of the District of Columbia to enjoin the construction of a school bus terminal at Montana Avenue and W Streets Northeast. The complaint included 4 claims, including the allegations that decisions made by the applicable agency of DC government have not been open to the public. Section 742 of the Home Rule Act, DC Official Code Section 1-207.42, is commonly known as the Sunshine Act. Subsection A of the Sunshine Act reads, all meetings, including hearings of any department, agency, board, or commission of the District of Columbia government, including meetings of the council at which official action of any kind is taken, shall be open to the public. No resolution, rule, act, regulation, or other official action shall be effective unless taken, made, or enacted at such meeting. The Superior Court dismissed the plaintiff's complaint for lack of standing and as such did not reach the Sunshine claim on the merits. Still, the plaintiff appellants have argued the Sunshine provision on appeal, including urging the court to adopt a Florida court's rationale that Sunshine implies advance notice. Although the Florida Sunshine Law does not mention, and this is a quote, such a specific requirement, as a practical matter, in order for a meeting to be in essence public, we hold reasonable notice thereof to be mandatory. The district and the mayor respond that the appellates did not adequately plead any relevant official action taken in a non-public meeting. Oral argument is scheduled for March 7th, 2023. Pertinent documents are in Dropbox: the complaint, the motion to dismiss from Superior Court, and the appellate briefs. Washington Post Company LLC versus Department of Homeland Security case regarding fees and costs in a federal FOIA case is next. On February 6, 2023, the United States District Court awarded the Washington Post $55,741.55 in attorney's fees and litigation costs in relation to its federal Freedom of Information lawsuit against the Departments of State and Homeland Security. The Post legal entity had alleged that 34 of its requests were erroneously denied or less than fulfilled by agencies. The agencies argued that the delays were justified by the COVID-19 pandemic's upending the Department of State's processing capabilities and the need for external and internal consultations to process most of the requests. But the agencies eventually began complying after 2 years. The Post decided that it was satisfied with the responses and it did not wish to challenge any withholdings or searches, which resolved the core of the case. At the last stage, the Post moved for attorney's fees and cost. The district court considered 4 factors from Judicial Watch versus U.S. Department of Commerce in evaluating the Post eligibility for fees and costs. 1, the public benefit derived from the case. 2, the commercial benefit to the plaintiff. 3, the plaintiff's interest in the records. And 4, the reasonableness of the agency's withholding. The court awarded the Post about 60% of its petition for amount. The opinions, the parties filing for and against fees costs are in Dropbox. And the next case is Phillips regarding the alleged Metropolitan Police Department watch list, which is a case in D.C. District Court. The court has reset its post-discovery status conference to June 16th, 2023, and OOG will continue to monitor these cases. Our next report on legislation. The first item is the fiscal year 2022-23 performance oversight hearing. On March 1st, 2023, Chairperson Hutcheson, Director Cooks, and I appeared in person before the Committee on Executive Administration and Labor for Bega's performance oversight hearing. We provided testimony on behalf of Bega to the committee chairperson, Councilmember Anita Bonds. Respecting OOG, I focused on our increased training and outreach efforts in the past 2 fiscal years. I also highlighted our performance concerning drafting legal opinions on the OMA and FOIA in response to complaints and inquiries. I recommended several changes to the OMA and FOIA. Most significant is the inclusion of ANCs to the OMA. I plan to submit revised testimony for the record that will include draft legislation to that effect. I also support the D.C. Open Government Coalition's proposed legislation to create a commission to provide recommendations to the committee about open government legislative reforms. Councilmember Bonds received the idea of a, quote, task force very well and would like to create 2, one for open government and the other for ethics. Our testimony was well received and we ably responded to Chairperson Bonds' follow-up questions. We will provide to the committee timely any supplemental information that was requested by March 11th, 2023, the date the official record closes. The next legislative item is the Comprehensive Cannabis Legalization and Regulatory Act of 2023. 8 D.C. council members are sponsoring this law. Section 13 would amend D.C. FOIA so as to add a new exemption 18 permitting withholding of information related to the location of premises owned by a cultivator or manufacturer license. This bill, as introduced, is in Dropbox. The proposed D.C. FOIA amendment appears on page 69. On the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, electronic payment of public records charges and posting of fee policy. House Bill 2006 from the Virginia's House of Delegates would permit any local public body that charges for the production of records under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act to allow electronic methods of payment. As previously reported, House Bill 2007 would add clarity to the FOIA fee structure and abolish subjective FOIA fees and cost. This bill will require that anybody subject to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, any county or city, any town with a population of more than 250, and any school board shall make available to the public and upload a written policy, one, explaining how the public body assesses charges for accessing or searching for requested records, and two, noting the current fee charge, if any. Both bills passed their second chamber on February 13th and go to the governor next. OOG will continue to monitor this legislation, which is also in Dropbox. The last items in my report are administrative matters. The first is our Bega relocation to 1030 15th Street Northwest. On February 8th, 16, and 22, I, along with Director Cooks, Chief of Staff Mitchell, and other administrative staff members, met with DGS and OCTO to discuss the progress of the agency's relocation to a new facility at 1030 15th Street Northwest. We still appear to be on track for our July move-in date. Office of the Chief Financial Officer. On February 13th, I, along with Director Cooks and Chief of Staff Mitchell, met with Assistant CFO Angelique Rice and her staff to discuss Vega's service from the Chief Financial Officer. We discussed our AFO service and the agency's needs respecting financial matters and the performance of the OCFO's DIFS system, which is their new financial system. We also subsequently learned that due to the FY24 CFO's projections, the mayor needs to reduce the FY24 budget by 24%. Since Bega's program budget has been leaned out to the maximum capacity, the agency will not be included in this round of budget cuts. This concludes the Office of Open Government's March 2nd, 2023 report. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have at this time.
Thank you, Director Allen. Are there any questions for Director Allen? Okay, hearing none, I would like to commend Director Allen and Director Cooks for their stellar testimony before at our oversight hearing yesterday. You did made the office look really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on our agenda is a report from the Office of Government Ethics. Also appearing via WebEx is Director of the Office of Government Ethics, Ashley Cooks. Director Cooks, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson Hutcheson. Actually, today, General Counsel Rashee Raj will provide OGE's update.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson. Is the sound okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm General Counsel Rashee Raj, filling in for Director of Government Ethics, Ashley Cooks. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, an update on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur because of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. Open investigations by status. Currently, we have 53 open investigations, 0 open investigations that are in negotiations, none that are set for a show cause hearing, for a grand total of 53 open investigations. For open undocketed matters, we have 2. For pending and stayed investigations by status. For closed pending collection, we have 26. Stayed pending DC Superior Court cases, 3. Stayed for OAG False Claims Act cases, 3. Stayed for OIG investigation, 4 cases. Stayed for United States District Court cases, 0, which brings us to a total of 36 pending and stayed cases. Regulatory matters by status. We have for closed cases pending collection, 26 matters. 5 matters are open, and that gives us a total of 31 open matters. 31 total regulatory matters, sorry. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 9 new matters. The investigative team resolved 11 investigations since the board last met. This total does not reflect the number of complaints that were dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. Comparatively to the last 2 months, investigations opened this month, we have 53. Last month was 55, and in January was 54. So you'll see that staying close. Investigations stayed. We had 10 this month, 10 last month, and 17 in January. Moving on to training and outreach. Professional development trainings attended by our staff. During the month of February, Senior Attorney Advisor Lynn Tran attended a PLI training titled Corporate Social Responsibility, Evaluating Political Activity Compliance in the Current Crossfire. Attorney Advisor Maurice Eccles attended 3 of National Black Prosecutors Association Trial Masters courses. Those were opening statement, closing argument, cross-examination, and direct examination. Investigator Ralph Bradley attended 2 trainings, communicating non-defensively and how to manage conflict effectively. Most of OGE's staff attended Bega WebEx training presented by OOG's Kevon Bridges about how to navigate the application more effectively. Now for trainings conducted by our staff. Since the February meeting, OGE conducted 8 trainings: the February monthly ethics training, board and commissions training for the DC Developmental Disabilities Council annual retreat, 3 ethics counselor financial disclosure statement trainings, 2 advisory neighborhood commission ethics trainings, and the first of 2 trainings for the DC Office of Risk Management. This past Monday, Attorney Advisor Maurice Eccles and I presented the February Ethics Counselor Brown Bag session on employee cooperation and retaliation laws. Several ethics counselors were in attendance and enjoyed participating in a long and involved hypothetical scenario touching on the intersection of all of these concepts. A copy of that presentation was placed in the Dropbox for your review. During February, 20 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft. Since the launch of the learning management system in April 2022, 432 employees have registered and completed training modules. In the past month, 51 new users have completed 102 courses with BGA 920 Advisory Neighborhood Commissioners Ethics Training and BGA 909 Conflicts of Interest and Overview, having the most attendees and completions. We continue to meet with our LRN program manager to discuss ways to optimize the system and increase employee registration. Outreach. OGE and OOG are finalizing changes to the new Bega website. The website team, which consists of Director Cooks, Director Allen, Chief of Staff Mitchell, Senior Attorney Tran, and IT Specialist Bridges, recently submitted final changes to the website. We are scheduled to meet with the Office of the Chief Technology Officer's website development staff on March 10th to discuss completion of the project. Bega newsletter. On February 15th, OGE published Volume 8, Issue 1 of its newsletter, Ethically Speaking. This issue highlights African-American leaders who are making positive strides in the ethics and compliance field, provides information on the U.S. Office of Government Ethics recently issued opinion on the application of 18 USC Section 208 to official social media usage. It notifies of Bega's most recent case dispositions and provides updates on the state and local ethics news that occurred outside of the district. The next issue will be released in April, and a copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Advisory opinions and advice. Informal advice. OGE legal staff provided advice for approximately 39 ethics inquiries, which is 14 more than the 25 reported at the last board meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. OGE has not issued any formal advisory opinions since the last board meeting. Legislation updates. 2022-2023 performance oversight. On yesterday, Chairperson Hutcheson, Director Allen, and Director Cooks provided testimony and information on the agency's performance before the Committee on Executive Administration and Labor. Director Cooks' testimony included updates on OGE's education and training, which included 106 ethics trainings conducted in the fiscal years 22 and 23. According to OGE's FY22 key performance indicators, 95% of training evaluations completed by attendees resulted in an overall positive rating of 3 or higher on the Bega training evaluation form. OGE responded to 385 requests for informal advice during FY22, plus an additional 173 informal requests in FY23, as calculated as of February 15th. Director Cooks highlighted OGE's investigations and enforcement by informing the committee that in FY22 and in FY23, OGE received 251 complaints and initiated 163 preliminary and formal investigations. In FY22, OGE closed 127 investigations, and in FY23, we closed 43 investigations. Of the closed investigations, 12 resulted in negotiated dispositions with fines ranging from $750 to $15,000, totaling $46,050. During that same time period, Director Cooks imposed $2,000 in ministerial fines. Regarding OGE's lobbying activities, in calendar year 2022, OGE received 339 lobbyist registrations and 1,854 activity reports, which resulted in $113,850 in registration fees. In calendar year 2023, as of February 15, OGE has received 279 lobbyist registrations and 464 activity reports, resulting in $88,550 in registration fees. An update of the financial disclosure program revealed that the FY22 filing season was successfully completed in June 2022 with 3,830 public filers submitting their financial disclosure statements using the e-filing system and 3,614 confidential filers submitting statements within their agencies. Director Cook's testimony also highlighted OGE's plans for the remainder of the fiscal year, along with the agency's persistence on the passage of the Comprehensive Code of Conduct. A copy of Director Cook's testimony, complete testimony, was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Meeting with Council Member Bonds. In addition to the performance oversight hearing, Director Allen and Director Cooks, as well as Senior Attorney Tran and Chief of Staff Mitchell, met with Council Member Bonds on February 16th at the Wilson Building. We provided information on the agency operations and priorities. We also answered questions regarding the agency's jurisdiction. By the end of the meeting, all parties agreed to achieving certain goals in the best interest of district government. OGE administrative matters. After reviewing resumes and interviewing candidates, OGE selected Ms. Franchon Van to fill its attorney advisor vacancy. Ms. Van started this past Monday. She previously served as an associate at Goldberg Segala LLP, where she was part of their civil litigation division. Prior to that, she served as an attorney advisor at the Small Business Administration and as a judicial law clerk for the Honorable Sharon M. Grayson Kelsey at Prince George's County Circuit Court. Ms. Van began her legal career as an assistant state's attorney for the Charles County State's Attorney's Office. We would like to welcome Ms. Van to the Bega team. This past Tuesday, OGE selected Ronald Cook to serve as the office's first supervisory investigator. Mr. Cook will manage the daily operations of OGE's investigative team, including establishing and approving investigative procedures and performance standards, advising on the implementation of program techniques, and aiding in the directing of activities for optimum utilization of investigative unit personnel, equipment, and materials. Supervisor Cook has served at the agency since it was initially opened in 2013, and he has assisted in the gradual improvement of the agency's investigative operations. Congratulations, Supervisor Cook. OGE plans to fill its auditor and program coordinator vacancies soon. Office relocation. Our office relocation is still underway. OGE and OOG continue our bi-weekly meetings with the Department of General Services and the project management team to discuss the build out of the space, furniture, and finishes. On February 16th, we attended the third furniture design session at the Hayworth Designs showroom. We chose the furniture and finishes for the office area, boardroom, and public areas. The proposed move-in date remains July 2023. Financial disclosure statement. FDS. The FDS 2023 season preparations are underway. The FDS team has determined which district employees will serve as agency ethics counselors. Last month, attorney advisor Millicent Jones sent a survey for feedback from ethics counselors about Bega offering the e-filing system for confidential as well as public filers. Survey feedback was overwhelmingly positive in that all who responded agreed with the move and fully supports Bega's effort. As stated at the last board meeting, the FDS agency head memos, which provide details for employee designations and filings, was sent out at the beginning of last month. We are looking forward to the start of this year's filing season. Lobbying registration and reporting, LRR. Calendar year 2023 renewals and 2022 quarter 4 activity reports were due Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. On December 29th, the LRR team sent a due date reminder notice to 498 active lobbyists and their clients, reminding them of that upcoming deadline. In response, the e-file system received 399 new and renewal registrations, 43 terminations, and 460 activity reports. These numbers are slightly down compared to the same period in 2022. February 6th marked the 15th business day after the due date. Program specialist Stan Kosick actively monitors the late filers and generated 8 fine letters for LRR filers who filed 15 days late. There is a chart available here within the director's notes, and this shows for you the percent change with the downward trend from 22 to 23. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics, March 2nd, 2023 report.
Thank you, General Counsel Raj. Are there any questions? No questions? Well, on behalf of the board, I'd like to congratulate Ronald Cook on his promotion and also welcome Fran Van to our agency. Okay.
Thank you.
Right, the next item on the agenda are public comments. The public was invited to submit written comments by 11 a.m. today, and we did not receive any for this meeting. Okay. Next on the agenda is the executive session or closed session. This is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer the motion that we enter into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, hearing no opposition, we will exit this session and go into executive session and then return to report out on any matters. Thank you. Okay. I think we're mostly here. The time is now 12:59 p.m. and we are back on the record. The board has approved a negotiated disposition in matter 23-0012-P in Re C. Troxler, and the board also voted to make public a formal investigation in matter 23-0045-P in Re M. Webster. And with that, we'll adjourn this meeting. The meeting concludes, and the next meeting will be held remotely via WebEx on April 6, 2023 at 12 p.m. Thank you all for your attendance. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.